Time for business on France 24. Stephen Carroll is joining us here on set. Stephen's been following the latest reactions to the arrests of the Renault-Nissan boss, Carlos Ghosn, of course, Stephen.
Yeah, that's right. The French Finance Minister, Bruno Le Maire, has been speaking about this on French radio in the past hour. He says that Carlos Ghosn is no longer fit to lead the car maker and that he's seeking an interim leadership for the French company. The minister is saying there's no evidence of any financial wrongdoing by Mr Ghosn in France and that the French government has no proof of the allegations being levelled at him in Japan. The minister adding, though, that the scandal had damaged the alliance of Renault, Nissan and Mitsubishi.
As the President has stated, is the stability of Renault and the stability of Renault's alliance with Nissan, because technology such as self-driving cars, electric vehicles is at stake. We need a car maker that's strong and solid, and we naturally need proper governance. So I'm asking for an interim board to work, because today Carlos Ghosn is not running the company.
Meanwhile, the board of Nissan are meeting on Thursday to discuss removing Carlos Ghosn as chairman. Japanese shares only having their first chance to react to that news today. It happened after the markets had closed on Monday. Nissan and Mitsubishi both seeing sharp falls, as you can see there. Investors, of course, reacting to those allegations of financial misconduct by Carlos Ghosn. The Japanese government has also been giving its view, as Solange Boujan now reports.
A scandal that's shaking up the Japanese business world and the global auto industry. Car manufacturers and traders went to work, bracing for the fallout from the arrest of one of the world's most famous businessmen, Carlos Ghosn. In the streets of Tokyo, many were shocked by the sudden downfall of the man credited with resurrecting the country's #2 car maker, Nissan.
I'm very surprised that this happened to the leader of the company that makes the car I drive. I really hope this is some kind of a mistake.
I am very shocked, but I suppose that this is the sort of thing that can happen in very big companies.
Japanese officials also expressed their dismay. For Nissan and Mitsubishi employ tens of thousands in the country. Collectively, the Renault-Nissan-Mitsubishi alliance is the world's largest car manufacturer. It sold 5.5 million cars in just the first half of this year. The government said they're focusing on the future of the alliance and bracing for any economic fallout.
We recognize that regardless of this arrest, it's important that the Nissan-Renault-Mitsubishi alliance must currently remain stable. As for the future of the alliance, we hope this will be discussed constructively until all parties agree.
Nissan and Mitsubishi have both announced their intention to remove Ghosn from his position at the companies, and they'll be looking into if he was given too much power and not enough oversight.
Well, back on the French side of things, Renault shares opening down another 2% after the falls that we saw yesterday in trading. This is the picture on the European markets at the open today. Falls across the board as well. Renault's board saying they'll meet later today to discuss Carlos Ghosn's future role. On the European markets more generally, technology shares among those seeing falls. That follows on to a trend that started on Wall Street on Monday. The Nasdaq index, where most of the world's major technology firms are listed, finished down more than 3% on trading there. So that's echoing across markets, both in Europe and in Asia as well, where we saw sharp falls across many of the Asian markets. Worth remembering that many of the companies that supply parts to companies like Apple are based in Asia, so their shares being hit by the fears over things like the future demand for the iPhone. Shanghai down over 2%, Hong Kong down as well, and the Nikkei in Tokyo, as we were saying, where Mitsubishi and Nissan are listed, finishing down 1% too. Well, here in Europe, the low-cost airline EasyJet has seen profits jump by more than 40% in the last financial year. The carrier boosted by the collapse of rival airlines. EasyJet says it's continuing its preparation for Brexit, boosting its non-UK ownership, which is currently at 47%. The company carried a record number of passengers over the year at 88.5 million. Cryptocurrencies continuing their terrible month of November. The price of Bitcoin slumping to its lowest level in 13 months. According to CoinDesk, a Bitcoin now trading for around $4,500, down 15% today. It's a loss of around 40% year on year. Remember, at the end of 2017, we were talking about Bitcoin at almost $20,000. So pretty dramatic slump there. And finally, for me, she's one of the world's best-selling artists. Taylor Swift has chosen her new record company, this after her contract with Big Machine Records expired earlier this month. In an Instagram post, the singer announced she had signed with Universal Music Group. The financial details of the deal weren't disclosed, but Taylor Swift has attached some interesting conditions to the deal. She's now going to own her master recordings of any new music. That's a luxury only usually afforded to the most successful artists. She's also told Universal that artists must benefit if the company decides to sell its stake in the streaming service Spotify. All artists must benefit, so not just her. Could be a huge windfall, that stake worth around €500 million. Stuart.
Stephen Carroll with a Taylor Swift graphic. Very impressed.